Picture this. You're 8 months pregnant, glowing, exhausted, surrounded by 35 women at your baby shower. Cake, gifts, laughter. Then the doorbell rings. A stranger hands you an envelope. You sign for it, open it, and your entire world shatters. Divorce papers, filed yesterday by your husband, while you were getting ready for this exact moment. But here's what he didn't know, what nobody knew. While he thought you were home doing nothing, you were building something extraordinary, something worth $2 billion. And tomorrow morning, the whole world would find out. This is the true story of Rebecca Hartwell, a woman who was betrayed at her most vulnerable moment, who discovered her husband's affair, his pregnant mistress, his complete betrayal. But it's also the story of the most satisfying reversal you'll ever hear. Because sometimes the person who thinks they're leaving you with nothing discovers they're leaving with nothing. Stay with me. This story has everything: betrayal, billion-dollar deals, a birth, a reckoning, and the kind of justice that restores your faith in the universe. You won't believe what happens next. The baby kicked hard against her ribs just as the doorbell rang for the third time. Rebecca Hartwell pressed her hand against her rounded belly, trying to soothe the movement from inside. 8 months pregnant, 33 weeks exactly. The baby app on her phone said her daughter was the size of a pineapple now. Someone should get that, her mother-in-law Marianne called from across the country club's event room. She stood near the gift table, arranging packages with precise movements. Everything had to be perfect for Marianne. The baby shower was in full swing. 35 women filled the space, their voices creating a pleasant hum of conversation and laughter. Powder blue decorations hung from the ceiling, matching tablecloths, centerpieces with tiny booties and rattles. Lauren had organized everything while Becca was buried in work that nobody here knew about. "I'll get it," Sophie said, appearing at Becca's elbow. Her assistant looked worried. Sophie always looked worried lately. The doorbell rang again. Becca shifted in her chair. Her back ached. Her ankles were swollen. She wore a blue maternity dress that cost more than it should have because Marianne insisted on the country club, and the country club had standards. Derek had texted 2 hours ago, "Client emergency." He would be late. Standard Derek excuse. Standard Derek absence. Sophie returned, and her face had gone pale. "Becca," she whispered, "there's a man at the door. He says he needs to speak with you." "Tell him I'm busy." "He says he's a process server." The room tilted slightly. Becca gripped the arms of her chair. "What?" "He has papers for you, legal papers. He says you have to sign for them." The conversations around them continued. Nobody else had heard. Not yet. Becca stood slowly, her body protested. Everything hurt these days. She walked toward the entrance, aware of eyes following her. Marianne's eyes especially. The man at the door wore a cheap suit and carried a leather folder. He looked uncomfortable. "Rebecca Ann Hartwell?" "Yes." "I need you to sign here, please." He held out a clipboard. Becca took it with shaking hands, signed her name. He handed her an envelope. "Have a good day, ma'am." He left quickly. Probably had other lives to ruin today. Becca stood in the doorway holding the envelope. Heavy paper, official weight. She knew what it was before she opened it. Behind her, the party had gone quiet. She opened the envelope, pulled out the documents, read the first page once, twice, 3 times. Petition for dissolution of marriage. The words blurred, refocused, blurred again, filed yesterday. Derek had filed yesterday, while she was getting her nails done for the shower, while she was wrapping party favors, while she was doing everything alone because he was always working. "Becca," Lauren's voice, her best friend, materialized beside her. "What is it?" Becca handed her the papers. Watched Lauren's face change as she read. Watched the color drain. Watched the lawyer in Lauren take over. "That son of a—" Lauren caught herself, glanced at the room full of women pretending not to stare. "We need to talk, now." Someone's phone flashed. A photo, another flash. The moment was being captured, preserved. It would be on social media within minutes. Marianne crossed the room. Her heels clicked against the hardwood floor. She looked at the papers in Lauren's hands, looked at Becca's face. She did not look surprised. "You knew," Becca said quietly. "You knew he was doing this." Marianne's mouth tightened. This is not the time or place for this discussion. He served me divorce papers at my baby shower, at your country club, in front of everyone. When exactly is the right time? The room was completely silent now. 35 women watching, 35 witnesses to her humiliation. I think you should leave, Marianne said. Her voice was ice. This is my shower. It's my membership, my club, my reservation. Lauren touched Becca's arm. Come on, let's go. Becca looked around the room, at the decorations she had not chosen, at the guests who were mostly Marianne's friends, at the gifts piled high, wrapped in paper that matched the theme. She thought about walking out, about collapsing, about screaming. Instead, she straightened her spine, lifted her chin, placed both hands on her belly where her daughter kicked and kicked. Thank you all for coming, she said. Her voice did not shake. Small miracle. I appreciate the gifts. I appreciate your time. The shower's over. She walked toward the exit. Lauren grabbed her purse. Sophie gathered the gifts in armfuls, refusing help from anyone. Nobody else moved. In the parking lot, Becca made it to her car before her knees gave out. She sat in the driver's seat, stared at the steering wheel, could not remember how to turn the key. Lauren slid into the passenger seat. You're not driving. Give me the keys. I'm fine. You're not fine. Nobody would be fine. Give me the keys. Becca handed them over. Sophie loaded gifts into the trunk, got into the back seat. They sat in silence. Where do you want to go? Lauren asked. Becca thought about home. The house Derek insisted they buy, 5 bedrooms they did not need, his name on the deed, her furniture, her decorating, his asset. The office, well, Becca, you should rest. The office, please. Lauren started the car, drove out of the country club parking lot, past the manicured lawns, past the tennis courts, past the life Marianne had wanted for her son. Sophie leaned forward. The Randolph meeting, they moved it up, tomorrow at 9. I remember. You don't have to go. We can reschedule. No, we're not rescheduling. Lauren glanced at her. What meeting? Business. What kind of business? Becca looked out the window, watched the city pass, the city where she had built something real while everyone thought she was playing at entrepreneur, while Derek thought she was doing nothing. The kind that's about to change everything, she said. She had 24 hours to close a $2 billion deal, and her husband had no idea she was the one selling. The office was in the converted warehouse district. Industrial windows, exposed brick. Nothing like the corporate towers where Derek worked. Next Tech Solutions occupied the top 2 floors. 63 employees who knew exactly who Becca was, who respected what she had built. Grace Morrison was waiting in the lobby. At 55, Grace had built and sold 3 companies. She wore her gray hair short, dressed in expensive casual clothes, commanded every room she entered. She took one look at Becca's face and said, "Conference room now." They rode the elevator in silence. Sophie peeled off at the 3rd floor to handle the gift situation. Lauren and Grace flanked Becca like bodyguards. The conference room had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Becca sank into a chair, pressed her palms against the cool table surface. Tell me, Grace said. Derek filed for divorce yesterday, had me served at the baby shower today. Grace's expression did not change. She had seen everything in her decades in business. Nothing shocked her anymore. His mother knew, Becca continued. She was there, smiling, playing hostess. She knew what was coming. Where is he now? I don't know, I don't care. Lauren spread the divorce papers across the table. He filed in a different county, claimed she abandoned the marriage. He's listed no assets in her name, requested full financial documentation. It's a strategic ambush. Grace picked up the papers. Read through them with the speed of someone who had reviewed thousands of contracts. Her mouth thinned. He thinks you're broke. He thinks I do freelance consulting. He has no idea about Nextech? None. The company is registered in Delaware. My name isn't on any public documents. You handle all external communications. As far as he knows, I work part-time from home making pocket change. Grace set down the papers, looked at Becca with something like pride. And tomorrow we're selling the company he doesn't know exists for $2 billion. That's the plan. Lauren made a sound between a laugh and a gasp. I'm your best friend, your lawyer. How did I not know this? You knew I was working. I told you about the company. You just didn't ask for details. Details like it being worth billions? Becca shrugged, immediately regretted it. Her shoulders ached. Everything ached. Grace poured water from the pitcher on the table, handed Becca a glass, not wine, never wine. Becca had not had a drink in 8 months. Sometimes she missed it, today especially. What do you need? Grace asked. I need to understand. I need to know why. I need to know when he stopped loving me, if he ever loved me at all. Those answers won't help. I know, but I need them anyway. Lauren checked her watch. It's 4:30. The legal office for the filing is closed. I can't get information until tomorrow. But I can tell you this. Based on these papers, he's claiming you spent excessively. He wants you to assume 70% of marital debt, mortgage, credit cards, car payments. I paid off the mortgage last year, through the LLC, anonymously. He doesn't know. Lauren's eyes went sharp. The lawyer and her fully engaged now. What else does he not know? Everything. He doesn't know I bought the cars outright. He doesn't know I've been funding his retirement account. He doesn't know the house he thinks is his asset is actually mine. Why? Lauren asked. Why let him think he was supporting you? Because he needed to think it. Because his ego required it. Because I was tired of fighting about money every time I wanted to invest in my company. The baby kicked hard, 3 rapid movements. Becca pressed her hand against her belly, felt the solid push of a tiny foot. She's upset, Becca said. She knows I'm stressed. Grace moved around the table, crouched beside Becca's chair despite her pencil skirt and expensive shoes. Listen to me. You built something extraordinary while everyone thought you were doing nothing. You're about to become one of the richest self-made women in technology, and that man chose to leave you on the day before your triumph. His loss, his stupidity, his regret to carry forever. I'm 8 months pregnant. And powerful. Don't forget powerful. Becca's throat tightened. She would not cry. Not here, not now. She had cried enough in the car, in the bathroom at the country club, in the parking lot. What do? You go home. You rest. You prepare for tomorrow. You close the biggest deal of your life. And you let Derek discover what he lost in the news. Becca drove herself home. Lauren wanted to follow. Grace offered to stay over. Becca refused both. She needed to be alone, to think, to process. The house was empty when she arrived. Of course it was. Derek was probably at his apartment, the one he kept for when he worked late, the one she had never seen, or maybe he was with Vanessa. Becca dropped her purse on the kitchen counter, walked through rooms that suddenly felt like a museum. The living room with furniture she had chosen, the kitchen with appliances she had researched, the dining room where they had not eaten together in months. Everything looked the same. Everything felt different. She climbed the stairs slowly. Her body protested each step. The baby pressed against her ribs, against her spine, taking up all available space. The nursery door was open. She had painted it herself, soft yellow, gender neutral. Derek said he did not care either way, boy or girl, whatever made her happy. Except he did not ask what made her happy. He asked what color would increase resale value. Becca sat in the glider chair, the one her mother had used when Becca was a baby, refinished, reupholstered, ready for the next generation. She should rest, should sleep, should prepare for tomorrow. Instead, she thought about Derek's office, his private space, the room she rarely entered because he preferred to keep work separate. She found it on the second try. The laptop tucked behind books on the shelf. The laptop he thought was hidden. Password. She tried his birthday. Wrong. Her birthday. Wrong. Their anniversary. Wrong. She tried Vanessa 0328. His assistant's name and birthday. The laptop unlocked. Becca sat at his desk, opened his email, the personal account he thought was private. The emails went back 14 months. Before the pregnancy, before the carefully timed conception Derek suggested. Optimal time for partnership track, he had said, as if babies were business decisions. The early emails were professional, work questions, Scheduling, normal assistant communication. Then they shifted, flirtatious, testing boundaries, pushing limits. By 6 months ago, they were explicit. Plans to meet, hotels, specific acts described in detail. Becca read them all, every word, every betrayal, every lie. The last email was from 3 days ago. Once the baby comes and she's stuck at home, we can be more careful. She'll never leave. She's too dependent. Becca closed the laptop, placed it back on the shelf, walked to the bathroom, vomited. She brushed her teeth, washed her face, looked at herself in the mirror. Red eyes, pale skin, belly huge and round. She looked exhausted. She looked defeated. She looked nothing like the woman who had built a $2 billion company. He didn't leave her because he fell out of love. He left her because he thought she had nothing. Becca returned to the nursery, sat in the glider, placed both hands on her belly. "Your father thinks I'm nothing," she said out loud. "Let me tell you what I am." She pulled out her phone, opened her private files, the ones Derek never saw, never asked about. 4 years ago, she had developed proprietary AI architecture for predictive logistics, complex algorithms that could forecast supply chain disruptions before they happened, could optimize routes in real time, could save companies millions in efficiency. She had started in their spare bedroom, working late at night when Derek traveled, which was often. He traveled so much. Grace had found her through a tech forum, recognized her genius, vested, partnered. Together, they built Next Tech from nothing. They bootstrapped for 2 years, grew carefully, kept everything quiet. Becca's name buried in LLC paperwork. Grace is the public face. Safer that way, cleaner. Derek never asked about her work, never cared. When she mentioned meetings, he nodded absently. When she talked about code, his eyes glazed over. When she celebrated small wins, he was always on a call. Now Randolph Industries wanted to acquire them. James Randolph himself, a man who had built a logistics empire and knew exactly what her technology was worth. $2.05 billion, 70% to shareholders. 45% was Becca's stake. After taxes, after payouts, after everything, $873 million to her personal accounts. Becca opened the pregnancy app on her phone. Week 33. Baby is the size of a pineapple. Developmental milestones, preparing for life outside the womb. She had tracked every week, every symptom, every change, alone. Because Derek was always busy, always traveling, always building his career, while she was building an empire. "I did this," she whispered to her belly, to her daughter, to herself. "I built something real," while he was building lies. The baby kicked in response, strong, insistent, as if to say, "I know, Mama, I know." Lauren arrived at dawn. Becca had not slept. The contractions started at 2 in the morning. Braxton Hicks, false labor, her body practicing for the real thing. Dr. Patricia Walsh confirmed it via phone. Stress-induced, drink water, rest. Call if they become regular. They did not become regular. They came and went, unpredictable, like everything else in her life right now. Lauren let herself in with the spare key. Found Becca in the kitchen, staring at cold coffee she had not drunk. "You look terrible." "Thank you." "I mean it. When did you last sleep?" "I don't remember." Lauren poured the cold coffee down the sink. Made fresh, added cream and sugar the way Becca used to like it before pregnancy made everything taste wrong. "We need to talk about the divorce papers." "I know." Lauren spread them across the kitchen island. The marble was cold under Becca's palms. Grounding. Real. "He's claiming marital debt, saying you spent excessively, wants you to assume 70% of the mortgage, the credit cards, the car payments, everything. I paid off the mortgage last year, anonymously, through the LLC. Lauren looked up sharply. "He doesn't know?" "Nobody knows. The company is registered in Delaware. My name isn't on any public documents. Grace handles all external communications, all press, all negotiations until now." "Becca, how much is your company worth?" "As of 9 o'clock this morning, if the deal closes, My share is just under $1 billion. Lauren sat down, stood up, sat down again. He thinks you're broke. He filed claiming he's the sole breadwinner, listed my income as zero. You file separate returns? Legitimate business expenses. My accountant is excellent. Everything is legal. Everything is documented. Lauren started laughing, not funny laughter, the kind that comes when reality is too absurd to process normally. This is poetry. This is actual poetry. This is my life. No, this is justice. Lauren pulled out her laptop, started typing. I can stall the divorce proceedings for weeks. Discovery will destroy him. But there's a better way. What way? Let him think he won. Let him think you're desperate. Let him proceed with confidence. Then we hit him with everything during discovery. Every asset, every account, every single thing he didn't know. Becca considered this. Part of her wanted to call Derek right now, scream at him, tell him exactly what he was losing. Watch his face when he realized. But that was emotion talking, and she had not built a billion-dollar company by making emotional decisions. We let him hang himself, Becca said slowly. Exactly. How long can you stall? 3 weeks minimum, maybe 4. Depends on the court schedule and how aggressive his lawyer is. By then, the acquisition will be public. The money will be in my accounts. Everything will be documented and finalized. And he'll have no legal claim to any of it because it was earned by a company that existed before your marriage. Becca felt something shift in her chest, not the baby, something else. The weight of betrayal easing slightly, replaced by something harder, cleaner, purpose. What do I need to do? Nothing. Let me handle the legal. You handle the deal. Close it, secure it, make sure everything is ironclad. The baby kicked. Hard. 3 rapid movements. She agrees, Becca said, pressed her hand where the kicks were strongest. Lauren's expression softened. How are you really? Not the business, not the divorce. You, the woman who's 8 months pregnant and just had her world explode. Becca thought about lying, about saying she was fine. She was always fine. I'm terrified, she said instead. I'm furious. I'm heartbroken. And I'm relieved, all at the same time. That's human. I don't have time to be human. I have a meeting in 3 hours that will determine my entire future. Then let's get you ready. So, Sophie arrived at 7 with breakfast. Real food, protein, fruit, the things Becca needed but kept forgetting to eat. The presentation is perfect, Sophie said, spreading papers across the table. The numbers are airtight. The demonstration is flawless. Randolph's team has done their due diligence. They know what they're buying. And the press release? Embargoed until you give the word. Every major tech outlet is ready. Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, TechCrunch, Wired, all of them. Becca showered, dressed carefully, maternity business suit, navy blue, professional, the most expensive maternity wear money could buy because Grace insisted on it. Comfortable shoes, no heels. Dr. Walsh's orders. Her ankles could not handle heels anymore. Her wedding ring was still on her left hand. She stared at it. White gold, small diamond. Derek had proposed at a nice restaurant, but not an extraordinary one. His salary was good, but not amazing yet. They would upgrade someday, he said. Someday never came. He got promotions. His salary tripled. The ring stayed the same because he stopped seeing her, stopped thinking about her, stopped caring. Becca left the ring on, not for him, for herself, a reminder, a symbol, proof that she had tried, that she had been committed, that the failure was his, not hers. They arrived at the office at 8:30. Grace was already in the conference room. Pacing, she never paced. Grace was always calm, always controlled. You okay? Becca asked. I've sold 3 companies. I've never been nervous before. But this one matters. Grace stopped pacing, looked at Becca directly. Because you built it while everyone told you to stay small. While your husband ignored you. While his mother looked down on you. You built something world-changing. And today you prove it. The conference room filled. Grace's legal team, the financial advisors, the accountants. Everyone who had worked to make this moment possible. At 8:55, reception called. Randolph Industries is here. In 3 hours, she would become one of the richest self-made women in technology, and her husband would find out from the news. James Randolph was 68 years old and looked like someone who had spent those years building things that mattered. Gray hair, sharp eyes, expensive suit that was somehow understated. He brought 6 lawyers, 4 executives, 2 technical specialists, people who knew how to evaluate what they were buying. Ms. Hartwell. He shook her hand firmly, glanced at her belly, at the ring on her finger. Or should I say, Mrs. Hartwell. Becca is fine. Becca, I've been in this business for 30 years. Your architecture is revolutionary. We've done our due diligence, tested your systems against every scenario we could imagine. I don't say this lightly. What you've built is the future of logistics. They sat. Grace began the presentation. Technical specifications, performance metrics, client testimonials, revenue projections. Becca watched the Randolph team, saw the moment they understood, saw the realization dawn that this was not hyperbole. This was real. The technical specialists asked questions, deep questions, the kind that required real understanding of the architecture. Becca answered each one, explained her algorithms, defended her choices, proved her expertise. By 10:30, the questions stopped. The room went quiet. Randolph looked at his team. They nodded. Let's talk numbers, he said. The negotiation took 2 hours, back and forth, valuations, earnouts, non-competes, integration plans, employment contracts for key staff. Grace handled business terms. Lauren handled legal. Becca handled vision. She explained where the technology could go, how it could scale, why it would revolutionize not just logistics, but the entire supply chain industry. Randolph listened, asked smart questions, pushed back on some points, agreed on others. At 11:47, they shook hands. $2,050,000,000, 70% to shareholders. 45% was Becca's stake. The rest split among Grace, early investors, and employee equity, after taxes, after all payouts, after everything. $873 million to Becca's personal accounts. We'll announce Monday, Randolph said. Give you the weekend to prepare. Time to notify employees. Set up press interviews. Becca glanced at Grace, saw the understanding in her eyes. Actually, Becca said carefully, I'd like to announce today, this afternoon if possible. Randolph's eyebrows rose. That's fast. I have personal reasons for wanting this public immediately. May I ask what those are? My husband filed for divorce yesterday. He thinks I have no money, no career, no future. I'd like him to discover otherwise. The room went completely silent. Then Randolph smiled. Not a polite smile, a real one, the kind that reached his eyes. I like you, he said. I liked you before. I like you even more now. 2 o'clock announcement. We'll make it work. The press release went out at 2:03 on a Thursday afternoon. Randolph Industries acquires Next Tech Solutions for 2.05 billion. Female-founded AI logistics firm's meteoric rise. The story included quotes from Randolph, technical details, revenue figures, and a photo of Becca and Randolph shaking hands. Becca visibly pregnant, professional, confident, powerful. The caption identified her as Rebecca Hartwell, founder and CEO, Stanford graduate, former Google engineer, tech innovator. Sophie monitored social media from her desk, called updates every 5 minutes. TechCrunch picked it up. Bloomberg is running it. Twitter is exploding. LinkedIn is going crazy. Becca sat in her office, feet elevated on the couch. Dr. Walsh's orders after this morning's stress. Her blood pressure was higher than it should be. Rest was not optional. Her phone rang constantly. She ignored everything except Grace, Lauren, and Sophie. At 3:17, Derek called. Becca stared at his name on the screen, watched it ring once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. She answered. Rebecca. Not Becca. Rebecca. He only used her full name when he was angry. Or scared. Probably both right now. Hello, Derek. What the hell is this? What am I seeing? You'll have to be more specific. Don't play games. This news story, this company, Next Tech. Is this some kind of joke? Becca shifted on the couch. Her back ached. The baby pressed against her spine, taking up all available space. Not a joke. That's my company. I founded it 4 years ago, sold it today. The announcement is accurate. Silence. She heard him breathing. Fast, panicked. That's impossible. You work part-time, you do freelance consulting. No, Derek, you assumed I worked part-time. You never asked what I actually did. You're telling me you own a company worth $2 billion? Owned, past tense. I sold it today. More silence. Longer this time. How long? 4 years. Since 3 months after we moved to this city, since you started traveling constantly for work. And you never told me. You never asked. You never wanted to know. I told you I was working on something important. You said that's nice and went back to your emails. His breathing changed. Faster, more desperate. This changes everything. What does it change, Derek? We need to talk, face to face, about us, about the baby, about everything. You mean the divorce you filed yesterday, during my baby shower, in front of 35 witnesses? That was a mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. You were thinking very clearly. The paperwork is extremely detailed. You filed in a different county, claimed I abandoned the marriage, listed my income as 0, requested 70% of marital debt go to me. That's not unclear thinking. That's strategy. Becca, please. Our baby will be fine, better than fine. She'll have everything she needs from me. I'm her father, but how am I you? Biologically. What does that mean? It means fatherhood is more than DNA. It's showing up, being present, caring about the mother of your child. You've done none of those things. Let me come over. Let me explain. There's nothing to explain. You wanted a divorce. You'll get one. The moment he realized she wasn't the dependent housewife he thought she was, wasn't destroying her. It was freeing her. She hung up. Her hands were steady. The shaking from yesterday was gone. Lauren called 2 minutes later. Derek's lawyer just contacted me. Emergency motion to halt divorce proceedings, claiming reconciliation is possible, requesting couples counseling. Deny it. With pleasure. Also, you need to see something. Lauren sent a link. Security footage from Derek's building, timestamp from this morning before the press release. Derek and Vanessa entering his apartment together at 8:15, looking comfortable, familiar, like they had done this many times before. They left at 10:30, 2 hours. While Becca was closing the biggest deal of her life, Derek was in bed with his mistress. Save that footage, Becca said. Her voice was ice. We'll need it. Sophie brought dinner at 6, Thai food, mild, nothing spicy. The baby could not handle spicy anymore. The story is everywhere, Sophie said, setting out containers. Someone connected the dots. Tech CEO's husband files for divorce day before $2 billion deal announcement. Twitter is not kind to Derek. What are they saying? That he's an idiot, that he fumbled the bag, that he deserves everything he gets. There are memes, so many memes. Becca ate slowly. Pad Thai, spring rolls. Food tasted better when victory was on the table. Her phone showed 42 missed calls from Derek, 18 from Marianne, 9 from Tom. She blocked Derek and Marianne, left Tom unblocked. He deserved a conversation. When Tom called that evening, his voice was rough, tired, older than his 62 years. Becca, I don't know what to say. You don't have to weigh anything. I didn't know about the papers, about the timing. Marianne told me last night, after. She knew beforehand. She didn't tell me. I'm ashamed of her, of my son, of myself for not seeing it. Tom, no, let me finish. You've been nothing but gracious to this family. You've tolerated Marianne's coldness. You've supported Derek through every career move, through every late night and business trip. And this is how he repays you? This is what my son has become? Becca's throat tightened. Tom had always been kind, distant sometimes, but kind, the only member of Derek's family who treated her like a person instead of an accessory. I built something, she said quietly. While everyone thought I was doing nothing, while your wife looked down on me, while Derek ignored me, I built something real, and I'm proud of it. You should be. I read all the articles, the technical papers, the analyst reports. What you created is remarkable, truly remarkable. The baby will be fine, financially secure, loved. I know she will, because you're her mother. He paused. I want to be at the birth, if you'll allow it, not as Derek's father, as this child's grandfather, as someone who wants to be part of her life. The tears came then, quiet, unexpected. She had not cried since yesterday, had been holding everything in, focusing on the deal, on survival. I'd like that, she whispered. Thank you. And Becca, I'm sorry for everything, for raising a son who could do this, for not seeing what was happening, for not being better. After they hung up, Becca sat in the silence, felt the baby move. Strong kicks, healthy, active. She talked to her belly, something she had started doing months ago when Derek stopped listening. That was your grandfather, Tom, the good one. He wants to know you, to be part of your life. Some people are worth keeping, even when everything falls apart. The baby kicked into response. Becca chose to believe it was agreement. By Friday morning, the story had evolved, mutated, grown into something bigger than the business deal itself. Someone found the baby shower photos on social media, the exact moment the process server arrived. Becca's face as she read the papers. The timestamp on the posts matched the timestamp on the divorce filing. Tech CEO's husband files for divorce day before 2 deal announcement. Didn't know she was selling company. The internet was not kind to Derek. His firm's main number was jammed with calls, reporters, angry people, someone claiming to be his mother asking if he was mentally deficient. That one made Becca laugh. First genuine laugh in days. Sophie compiled the coverage, showed Becca the highlights, the lowlights, the complete destruction of Derek's reputation in real time. His firm released a statement, Sophie said. Standard corporate response. Derek Hartwell's personal matters don't reflect the values of the company. They're reviewing the situation. Translation, he's being pushed out. That's not my problem. No, but it's satisfying. Becca's phone showed 63 missed calls from Derek. She had blocked his number. He was calling from other phones now. Office line, random numbers, desperate measures. Lauren arrived at noon with an update. Derek wants to contest the divorce. Claims the marriage can be saved. His lawyer filed for mandatory couples counseling as prerequisite to proceedings. Absolutely not. That's what I told them. But there's more. Lauren hesitated, looked uncomfortable. Vanessa is pregnant. The room tilted. Becca gripped the chair arm, felt the world reorganize itself around this new information. How far along? 3 months, she told her friends. One of them leaked it to a gossip site. It'll be public by tonight. He wasn't just leaving her. He was replacing her. The baby, the wife, the entire life. Becca stood, paced. The baby kicked frantically, responding to her stress. She pressed both hands against her belly, tried to calm down. For the baby. Everything was for the baby now. He got her pregnant while I was pregnant. Becca, while I was carrying his child, while I was dealing with morning sickness and swollen ankles and back pain, while I was building our daughter's nursery, he was making another baby. With her. The rage was clean, pure, clarifying. She turned to Lauren. I want full custody, supervised visitation only. I want every penny of child support the court will award, and I want his infidelity documented in every single legal filing. Lauren's smile was sharp, satisfied. Now we're talking. That night, Becca could not sleep. Contractions came and went, stronger than before, still irregular, still Braxton Hicks. Der Walsh said, come in if they become regular. If the pain is consistent, if anything feels wrong, everything felt wrong, but not medically wrong, emotionally wrong. At midnight, Becca sat in the nursery. Yellow walls, white furniture. The crib she had assembled herself because Derek was traveling. The changing table she had stocked with supplies. The rocking chair where she planned to feed her daughter. She read aloud from a book about strong women. Amelia Earhart, who flew across oceans. Katherine Johnson, who sent men to the moon. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who changed laws that needed changing. Her daughter kicked along with the rhythm of her voice, like she was listening, learning, preparing. "You're going to be strong," Becca whispered. "Stronger than me, braver. You'll never let anyone make you small. You'll never hide who you are to make someone comfortable. Promise me." The baby kicked 3 times, hard, insistent. Becca chose to believe it was a promise. At 3 in the morning, she scrubbed the kitchen floor on her hands and knees. It did not need cleaning. She had a cleaning service. The floors were spotless, but she needed to move, to do something, to control one thing in a life that felt uncontrollable. The smell of lemon cleaner filled the kitchen. The cool tile pressed against her palms. The repetitive motion was soothing, meditative. The baby settled, stopped the frantic kicking, seemed to understand that Mama needed this. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and her own breathing. The clock on the wall ticked steadily. Outside, the occasional car passed. Normal people living normal lives. Becca's life had never been normal. She had known that for a while, had accepted it. But this was different. This was freedom. She had spent 5 years trying to be what Derek wanted, accommodating his career, supporting his ambitions, making herself smaller so he could feel bigger. And he had left her anyway, filed for divorce while she carried his child because he thought she had nothing, was nothing. He was wrong about everything. Some people don't deserve second chances. Recognizing that isn't cruel, it's survival. Saturday morning, Derek showed up at her door. Lauren called first. "Security footage shows him sitting on your front step. He's been there 20 minutes. "What does he want?" "To talk, presumably." "Don't let him in." "I won't." But curiosity won, or maybe exhaustion, or maybe the part of her that still remembered loving him needed to see what he would say. She opened the door. Derek looked terrible. Rumpled suit, unshaven, hair uncombed, dark circles under his eyes. He looked like someone whose life was falling apart. "Good." "You can't be here," Becca said. "Please, just 5 minutes." Lauren said no contact. I know, but I need to explain. I need you to understand." Against every instinct, Becca stepped aside. "Let him in." He stood awkwardly in the foyer of the house that used to be his, looking at furniture he had walked past for years without seeing. "You have 5 minutes. I made a mistake. You made many. Vanessa, that was stupid. Weak. I was scared." "Scared of what?" "Of this." He gestured at her pregnant belly, at the evidence of impending fatherhood. "Of you being pregnant, of being a father, of my life changing completely." "So you destroyed it instead?" "I panicked. I thought if I left now, before the baby came, it would hurt less. Clean break. Fresh start." "You filed for divorce at my baby shower, Derek. There's no version of that where it's a clean break." He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture she used to find endearing. Now it just looked manipulative, practiced. "I didn't know about the company, about the money." "Would it have mattered?" "No, yes, I don't know." Wrong answer. She had spent 5 years loving a man who was only capable of loving himself. Derek tried again. "We can still fix this. Go to counseling, work through it, for the baby." "The baby doesn't need you to fix anything. The baby needs stability, honesty, love. You've demonstrated none of those things." "I'm her father, biologically. But fatherhood is more than DNA. It's showing up, being present, caring about the mother of your child, putting someone else's needs before your own. When have you done any of that?" "You can't cut me out." "I'm not cutting you out. You cut yourself out. The day you filed those papers, the day you got your girlfriend pregnant, while I was carrying your child." His face went pale. "How did you—" "It's public, Derek. As of last night, just like my company sale. Your personal life is now a news story. How does that feel?" He sat on the stairs, head in his hands, the picture of defeated man. "Everything is falling apart." "No, you're less sorry falling apart. Reality was always there. You just refused to see it." "What do you want from me?" Nothing. That's the point. I don't need anything from you. Not your money, not your name, not your approval, not your love. Nothing. The baby needs a father. The baby will have a father. Tom wants to be involved, a real grandfather. He'll be more of a father figure than you ever were. That's not fair. Becca laughed, bitter, sharp, the sound of someone who had run out of patience for nonsense. Fair? You want to talk about fair? She pulled out her phone, showed him the email she had found. His laptop, his password, Vanessa, the timeline, the explicit details, the planning, the betrayal. 14 months, Derek. You were planning this for over a year. While we were trying to conceive, you were sleeping with her. While I was dealing with morning sickness, you were planning your exit. While I was painting the nursery, you were building a new life. Tell me about fair. He would not look at the phone, could not. I was going to tell you. When? After the baby was born? After Vanessa had hers? When exactly was the right time in your mind? There is no right time. Exactly because there's no right way to do what you did. No acceptable versions of this betrayal. She felt the baby kick, hard, protective, like even from inside her daughter knew who to trust. Your 5 minutes are up. Leave. Becca, leave. Don't come back. Don't call. Don't text. All communication goes through lawyers from now on. That's your choice. Live with it. Derek stood slowly, looked at her one last time, opened his mouth, closed it. Nothing he could say would matter. He left. Becca locked the door behind him, chained it, leaned against the cool wood. Her hands did not shake. Her heart did not race. She felt calm, clear, certain. Some people don't deserve second chances. Recognizing that isn't cruel. It's survival. Within an hour of Derek leaving, he posted on social media a public apology, vague, carefully worded, probably written by his lawyer. I take full responsibility for the pain I've caused my wife and family. I'm committed to being the best father I can be to my daughter. I asked for privacy during this difficult time. The comments were brutal. You filed for divorce at her baby shower. You don't get privacy. Committed to being a good father? You got your mistress pregnant while your wife was pregnant? That ship has sailed. The audacity of mediocre men will never cease to amaze me. Sophie texted screenshots. Have you seen this? A video, entertainment news. A tearful interview with Vanessa. Becca watched it twice, studied the performance. It was good, almost believable. Vanessa claims she did not know Derek was married at first, that he told her the marriage was over, that they were separated, that she was a victim too. The interviewer asked about her pregnancy. I'm terrified, Vanessa said, dabbing at tears with a tissue. I'm 28 years old, single, pregnant. My career is probably over. I never meant for any of this to happen. The comments on this video were mixed. Some people sympathetic, others skeptical. If you didn't know he was married, why did his email to you say once she's stuck at home with the baby, we can be more careful? Someone had leaked the emails. Becca had not done it. Lauren had not done it. But someone had. Derek's private correspondence was now public. Every lie, every betrayal, every disgusting detail. His career was over. His reputation destroyed. His life went to ruins. Becca felt nothing about it. Not joy, not satisfaction, nothing. Just peace. Lauren called. Don't respond to anything. Let them bury themselves. The footage, the emails, the timeline. It's all working in our favor. I wasn't planning to respond. Good, because I have better news. Tom retained his own lawyer. He's filing for grandparents' rights, independent of Derek. He wants scheduled visitation. He's supporting your custody position. He's going against his own son. He's choosing his grandchild and you. His lawyer sent documentation, character references, financial records. Tom is building a case for why he should be part of this baby's life, regardless of what happens with Derek. Becca sat down. The baby kicked steadily, content, healthy. He's a good man. He is, and the court will love him. Retired judge, stable finances, clean record, no drama. He's the grandfather every child should have. That afternoon, Grace arrived with champagne, sparkling cider for Becca. They sat in the backyard, late September sun, warm but not oppressive, perfect California weather. To the smartest woman I know, Grace said, raising her glass, who built an empire while everyone thought she was doing nothing. They drank. The cider was crisp, apple. The baby seemed to like it. The kicking calmed. How are you really? Grace asked. Terrified, angry, relieved, said here's doing all of it at once. That's completely normal. Is it normal that I don't miss him? Not really. I miss the idea of him, the man I thought he was, but the real him, no loss. I think you've been missing him for years, missing who you thought he was, the real Derek. You're better off without him. Becca sipped her cider, watched the late afternoon sun paint the sky gold and pink. I keep thinking about all the signs I ignored, the late nights, the phone calls he took in other rooms, the business trips that seemed excessive even for his job, the way he stopped asking about my day, stopped caring about my work. All of it was right there. I just didn't want to see. You trusted him. That's not a weakness. It feels like one. It's not. He's the one who failed, not you. You kept your promises, built your career, prepared for your daughter. You did everything right. He's the one who failed every test. The baby kicked in agreement, or maybe just because babies kick. Either way, Becca chose to interpret it as support. What happens now? Now you rest. You prepare for motherhood. You let your lawyers handle Derek. You let your money managers handle your accounts. You let yourself be human for a minute. I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do. You just forgot. Too many years making yourself small. Time to remember who you actually are. They sat in comfortable silence, drinking cider, watching the sun set. Two women who had built things together, changed an industry together, survived together. Thank you, Becca said quietly, for believing in me when nobody else did. I didn't believe in you. I recognized you. There's a difference. She was done mourning what she lost. Time to celebrate what she gained. That evening, Dr. Walsh called. Becca, I need you to come in. Some of your test results from yesterday are concerning. What kind of concerning? Blood pressure is elevated, protein in your urine, signs of preeclampsia. I want to monitor you overnight. Just precautionary. I feel fine. Stress-induced complications don't always have obvious symptoms. That's what makes them dangerous. Please, let me check you up properly. Becca agreed. Lauren drove her to the hospital. They admitted her to the maternity ward. Monitors, IV, constant checks. Her blood pressure read 140/90. Too high. Dr. Walsh's face was concerned but calm. We might need to induce early. The baby is 34 weeks. Big enough, developed enough, but the stress is affecting both of you. How early? If your pressure doesn't stabilize, this week, maybe sooner. Becca's hand rested on her belly. It's too soon. 34 weeks is early, but safe. We have an excellent NICU if needed. Right now, you're the patient I'm worried about. Preeclampsia can escalate quickly. I won't take chances. They kept her overnight, monitored every vital sign, checked the baby's heartbeat constantly. Strong, steady, healthy. Becca could not sleep. Hospital at night was its own world. Quiet beeps, soft footsteps, someone's baby crying down the hall. Life continuing in small rooms. She watched the monitors, the baby's heartbeat, her own. Two lives, separate but connected. Soon, fully separate. The thought was terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. A nurse came in at midnight. Maria, older woman, kind eyes, grandmother energy. Can't sleep? Too much to think about. First baby? Yes. Scared? Terrified. Maria adjusted the monitors, checked the IV, moved with practiced efficiency. Being scared means you understand what matters. The women who scare me are the ones who think they have everything figured out. Those are the ones who struggle most. What if I'm not ready? Nobody's ready. That's the secret they don't tell you. You just do it anyway, one day at a time, one feeding at a time, one diaper at a time. Eventually you look up and realize you've been doing it all along. My husband left me. Did you know that? I read the news. I know who you are. Everyone knows who I am now. They know what you built. They don't know who you are. Big difference. Maria finished her checks, started to leave, stopped at the door. For what it's worth, your daughter is lucky. She's getting a mother who knows her own worth. That's the best gift you can give a child. Knowing you're worth something so she learns she's worth something too. After Maria left, Becca cried. Quiet tears, exhaustion, relief, fear, gratitude, all of it mixed together. She breathed with the monitors, in, out, steady, her body remembering how to calm, how to trust, how to be. The baby settled, stopped the anxious movements, seemed to understand that Mama was okay now. They would both be okay. Sunday morning, her blood pressure spiked. 150 over 100. Dr. Walsh made the call. We're inducing today. The baby needs to come out. The risk to you is too high. I'm not ready. I know, but your body disagrees. Sometimes our babies have their own timeline. Lauren arrived within 20 minutes. Sophie brought the hospital bag Becca had packed weeks ago, just in case. Grace brought flowers and magazines and the kind of calm presence that made everything feel manageable. You've got this, Lauren said, squeezing Becca's hand. I don't feel like I've got this. Nobody does. That's the point. You do it anyway. Tom arrived at noon, quiet, steady. He looked at Becca with grandfatherly concern. How are you feeling? Like my body is betraying me. Your body is protecting you, and my granddaughter. That's not betrayal, that's wisdom. He held her hand during contractions, did not flinch when she squeezed too hard, did not leave even when the hours stretched long. Derek wants to be here, Tom said carefully during a quiet moment. No. I told him that would be your answer. I'm telling you so you know I asked. Thank you. The labor was long, 12 hours, painful, exhausting. Every contraction felt like her body was trying to turn itself inside out. Dr. Walsh checked her progress. 4 centimeters, 6, 8. The numbers climbed slowly. You're doing great, she said after each check. Better than great. You're strong. Becca did not feel strong. She felt like she was being split apart, like every piece of her was being tested, broken, remade. Lauren held one hand, Tom held the other. Grace stood near the door, ready to help with whatever was needed. At 9:30 that evening, Walsh said the words Becca had been waiting for. Time to push. 3 pushes. 10. More. Becca lost count. Then Dr. Walsh said, 1 more. 1 more, and you'll meet your daughter. Becca pushed with everything she had left. Every ounce of strength. Every bit of determination that had built a billion-dollar company. Every piece of will that had survived betrayal and heartbreak and public humiliation. At 11:47 on Sunday, September 29th, her daughter was born. 6 pounds, 3 ounces. Tiny but healthy, pink and screaming and absolutely perfect. They placed her on Becca's chest, skin to skin. The baby stopped crying immediately, opened her eyes. Dark blue. All babies had dark blue eyes at first. Becca knew that from research, from books, from preparing. But knowing and experiencing were completely different things. Hello, Caroline, Becca whispered. I'm your mom. Caroline Grace Hartwell. Grace for her business partner, who became family. Caroline for strength, for freedom. The name meant free woman. Tom cut the cord at Becca's request. His hands shook. His eyes were wet. She's beautiful. She looks like you. Good. Carolyn passed all her tests. APGAR scores perfect. No NICU needed. Just observation. Mother and baby were moved to recovery together. Becca could not sleep, could not stop looking at her daughter, counted fingers, toes, studied the tiny face that was already so familiar, like she had known this person her entire life. At 3 in the morning, her phone buzzed. Derek from another number. Is the baby here? Please tell me the baby's here. Please let me know she's okay. Her name is Caroline. She's healthy. We're both fine. Can I see her? Please, Becca. I need to see my daughter. Tomorrow, during designated visiting hours, with supervision. She hung up, blocked the number, returned her attention to Caroline. The baby slept in the bassinet beside the bed, wrapped in hospital blankets, wearing a tiny pink hat, her face peaceful, completely unaware of the chaos around her birth. She had created two things worth more than money: a company that would change logistics forever, and a daughter who would change everything. So, Monday morning, the hospital was controlled chaos. The press had found out, not about the baby specifically, about Becca being admitted during the company announcement aftermath. Security kept reporters out. Sophie ran an interference, sent carefully worded statements. No photos, no details, privacy respected. Derek arrived at exactly 10 in the morning. When visiting hours started, Lauren was there, Tom was there. Derek was not allowed in the room alone. He saw Caroline through the nursery window first, pressed his palm against the glass. His face crumpled. When they brought him into the room, when they let him hold his daughter for the first time, he broke down completely. Tears streaming, hands shaking. "She's perfect," he whispered. "She is," Becca agreed. "I'm so sorry for all of it, for everything. I'm so sorry." "I know. Can we try?" "No." He held Caroline for 20 minutes, photographed her with Becca's permission, talked to her in soft tone, made promises he might or might not keep. When his time was up, he handed her back reluctantly. "Thank you for letting me meet her. She's your daughter. You have the right to know her." "Do I have the right to know you?" "No, that ship sailed. You burned it, scattered the ashes. There's no going back." After Derek left, Tom stayed, held his granddaughter with the care of someone who understood the weight of this moment. "He means well," Tom said quietly. "Meaning well isn't enough." "No, it's not." Tom looked at his granddaughter. "I'm proud of you. I know I'm not your father, but I'm proud of who you are, what you've built, how you've handled all of this with grace and strength. Thank you. Carolyn is lucky to have you as her mother, to be born into a life where she'll never have to make herself small, where she'll see a woman who built empires and refused to apologize for it." Tuesday morning, discharge day. Becca dressed Caroline in the going home outfit. Tiny pink dress, hat, blanket. Her hands remembered the motions from the classes, from the practice, from all the preparation. But nothing prepared her for the weight of responsibility, the pure love, the absolute terror of being solely responsible for this tiny person. Sophie drove them home. Lauren sat in the back. Tom followed in his car, a convoy of protection, of support, of chosen family. The penthouse was ready, the nursery complete, everything prepared, but somehow different now, real now, because the baby was real, was here, was depending on her. "I'm someone's mother. I built a company worth billions. I survived betrayal. I'm just getting started." A home was different with a baby. Becca had known this intellectually, had read the books, taken the classes, prepared as much as anyone could prepare. Living it was entirely different. Carolyn ate every 2 hours, slept in 20-minute bursts, cried for reasons Becca was slowly learning to decode. Hungry cry, tired cry, uncomfortable cry, each one slightly different, each one requiring different solutions. Sophie brought meals, lasagna, soup, foods that could be eaten with one hand while holding a baby. Grace brought diapers, wipes, all the supplies that somehow ran out faster than seemed possible. Lauren brought legal documents, custody agreements, child support calculations, divorce proceedings timeline. Derek is allowed supervised visits, 1 hour twice a week at Tom's house. Tom must be present at all times. That's fair. He's not fighting it. His lawyer advised full cooperation. Public opinion has already destroyed him. Fighting you in court would make it worse. Derek brought gifts when he visited. Too many gifts, expensive gifts. A baby doesn't need a $200 outfit. Guilt manifested as shopping. Tom hosted the visits with quiet dignity, gave Derek space to bond with his daughter, but made it clear whose home this was, whose rules applied. Vanessa had her baby in mid-October. A boy, Maxwell. Becca saw the announcement on social media before Derek told her. She felt nothing about it. Not anger, not jealousy, nothing. Derek was someone else's problem now. The divorce moved forward efficiently. Derek contested nothing, signed everything. His lawyer advised cooperation. The court of public opinion had already ruled. Fighting would only make things worse. Child support was set at $15,000 per month. Derek argued it was excessive. His lawyer shut that down quickly. Becca's income was public record. The standard calculation applied. The judge was not interested in his complaints. By mid-October, the papers were finalized. Rebecca Hartwell was officially single, officially divorced, officially free. She kept the name for Caroline's sake. Legal continuity, birth certificate consistency, nothing more. The house, Derek's house, went on the market, sold in 3 days, multiple offers. She took the highest one. Used the money to furnish the penthouse, to build Caroline's college fund, to invest in her future. The penthouse was perfect. 3 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the river, space for a nursery and a home office, room to grow, room to breathe, room to be herself. She hired a night nurse, Maria Castellano, the same Maria from the hospital. 62 years old, grandmother of 7, firm but kind. She helped Becca sleep in 4-hour blocks instead of 20-minute increments. Sleep is not optional, Maria said on her first night. Sleep is survival. You sleep, I'll wake you for feeding. Otherwise, I handle it. It took 3 nights for Becca to trust it, to believe Maria would wake her if needed, to let herself actually sleep. When she woke after 4 uninterrupted hours for the first time in 2 weeks, she cried from relief. The life Derek thought would trap her set her free. The divorce he meant to destroy her gave her wings. Late October, Caroline was 4 weeks old, thriving, growing, starting to focus on faces, starting to recognize Becca's voice, starting to smile. Real smiles, not just gas. Derek requested a meeting. Private, no lawyers, just them. Becca agreed to a coffee shop. Neutral ground, public location. She brought Caroline because she was breastfeeding and the baby didn't take bottles well yet. Derek arrived looking terrible. Thinner than before. Dark circles under his eyes. Rumpled clothes. The shine of success completely gone. Thank you for meeting me. You have 20 minutes. Vanessa left me. I'm sorry. Are you? Human to human? Yes. Nobody deserves to be abandoned with a newborn. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. She took Maxwell, moved to her mother's place, served me with child support papers. I'm paying a support for 2 children now. You'll figure it out. My firm let me go. Reputational damage. I'm interviewing at smaller firms, taking a pay cut. Everything's falling apart. Derek, what do you want from me? I wanted to tell you something. I've been in therapy, real therapy, not court-ordered, actually trying to understand myself. Good. My therapist asked why I sabotaged the best thing in my life. I didn't have an answer. We've been working on it. I think I was threatened. By you. By how capable you were. By how you never needed me for anything. I needed you. I needed a partner. Someone who saw me. Someone who cared. I know. And I failed completely. Becca adjusted Caroline, who was nursing. Derek looked away, still uncomfortable with it. Even now, even after everything. I'm not asking for forgiveness, he continued. I don't deserve it, but I want to be a good father to Caroline. I want to show up, consistently, not because of guilt, because she deserves it. Then show up, not with money, not with gifts, with time, with presence, with actual care. I will. We'll see. After he left, Lauren texted immediately. How did it go? He's a mess. Vanessa left him. Karma is beautiful. It really is. That night, Becca rocked Caroline in the new nursery. City lights spread below, floor-to-ceiling windows, the baby's weight in her arms. The rhythm of breathing, hers and Caroline's, synchronized. She thought about Derek's words, about being threatening, about hiding herself to make him comfortable. Never again. Caroline would grow up watching her mother build things. Refuse to apologize. Take up space. Know her worth. The best gift she could give her daughter wasn't money, wasn't security, wasn't even time. It was example. Living proof that women didn't have to choose between success and family, between career and motherhood, between being powerful and being loved. You could have everything, you could be everything. You could refuse to make yourself small. The penthouse at night was its own kind of perfect, silent except for white noise from Caroline's sound machine. The hum of the city below, the occasional car, the world continuing while Becca built her own world right here. She stood at the window, held her daughter, saw her reflection in the glass. Stronger now, different, better. A woman who survived betrayal, who built billion-dollar companies, who refused to be diminished. A woman raising a daughter to be even stronger. December arrived with surprising speed. Time moved differently with a newborn. Some days lasted forever. Some weeks disappeared. Carolyn was 10 weeks old, smiling constantly now, real smiles that lit up her entire face. Starting to make sounds, little coos and gurgles, the beginning of language. Christmas approached. Becca's first as a single mother. Her first as someone the world knew. Her first as someone who no longer hid. Tom hosted Christmas Eve. Small gathering. Grace and her wife. Lauren and her girlfriend. Sophie and her parents. Derek was invited for Caroline's sake, not for Becca. He arrived on time. Brought age-appropriate toys this time. Wooden blocks, soft books, things a 10-week-old could actually use. He held his daughter with increasing confidence, no longer terrified she would break. Learning the weight of her, the way she liked to be held, the sound she made when she was happy. Marianne arrived late, uninvited. Tom's face darkened when he saw her. "I wanted to see my granddaughter." "You knew about the divorce," Becca said quietly, calmly. "You knew he was planning it. You knew he would serve me at the baby shower. You smiled through the whole thing. I thought you'd take him back. Women always take them back. I'm not women. I'm me. And I don't take back men who betray me while I'm carrying their child. You trapped him with that baby." Tom stood. His voice was ice. "Mother, you need to leave." "Excuse me?" "You heard me. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome around my granddaughter. Not until you can treat her mother with basic human decency." "Thomas, I'm your mother. And you're nobody to this child. Leave." Marianne left, furious, dramatic. They didn't see her again. Didn't need to. Later, after Caroline fell asleep in the portable crib Tom kept for visits, the adults talked in the living room, tree lights twinkling, fire in the fireplace, the kind of scene from movies about perfect families. Except this wasn't a perfect family. This was a real family, chosen, built from pieces, held together by choice instead of obligation. Derek pulled Becca aside during a quiet moment. "I've been thinking about what I'll tell Caroline when she's old enough to ask about us, about why we're not together." "What will you tell her?" "The truth, that I failed her mother, that I made terrible choices, that I'm spending the rest of my life trying to be better." "That's good. Will you tell her I loved you, even though I didn't show it?" Becca considered this carefully. Looked at the man who had been her husband, who was now just her daughter's father. Nothing more. "I'll tell her you love the idea of me, but you never took the time to know the real me, and that's why we're not together." "That's the truth." "That's fair. Derek, I don't hate you. That would require caring. I feel sorry for you. You had something real and you traded it for illusion, for ego, for the chance to feel powerful by making me feel small. That's sad. I know. I hope you figure yourself out, for Maxwell's sake, for Caroline's sake, but mostly for your own sake. This isn't a life, this living in regret. I'm trying." "Good. Keep trying." Christmas morning, Becca woke in her own bed. Carolyn beside her in the co-sleeper. Sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. The city spread below like a promise. She checked her phone. Messages from Grace, Lauren, Sophie. Photos of Caroline from last night. Her daughter surrounded by people who chose to love her. And an email from James Randolph. "Rebecca, the board would like to extend an offer. Chief Innovation Officer, your own division, flexible schedule, remote work options, whatever you need. We don't want to lose your vision, your mind, your leadership. Let's talk in January." She read it 3 times. Caroline stirred, opened her eyes, focused on Becca's face, smiled that real smile that made everything worthwhile. Becca talked to her daughter. What do you think? Should mommy go back to work? Build more things? Show you how it's done? Caroline's smile widened, or maybe it was gas. Becca chose to believe it was approval. She responded to Randolph. Let's talk in January. Very interested. A year ago, she was planning a baby shower. Now she was planning empires. New Year's Eve arrived. Becca stayed home. Caroline was too young for late nights, for celebrations, for anything beyond her simple routine. Maria had the night off, time with her own family, her own grandchildren. Becca made tea, chamomile, caffeine-free. Everything was still about breastfeeding schedules and sleep patterns. She sat on the floor with Caroline on a playmat, watched the baby discover her own hands, the wonder in those dark blue eyes, the joy in simple discovery. At midnight, fireworks exploded over the city. Caroline startled. Becca picked her up immediately, held her close. That's people celebrating. Celebrating new beginnings, fresh starts, second chances. She thought about this year. The betrayal that started it, the divorce, the deal, the birth, the transformation. She thought about who she was, the woman who hid her success to make her husband comfortable, who made herself small, who apologized for taking up space. And who she was now, the woman who refused to be small, who built billion-dollar companies, who raised a daughter alone, who knew her worth. Her phone buzzed. Text from Derek. Happy New Year. Thank you for Caroline. Thank you for not giving up on me being her father. She did not respond, not from anger, from understanding. There was nothing more to say. Derek was Caroline's father. He would be part of her life, but he was not part of Becca's life anymore. That door was closed, locked, the key thrown away. Instead, she texted Tom. Thank you for being the father figure I needed. Caroline is lucky to have you. His response was immediate. I'm the lucky one. Happy New Year, Becca. She thought about justice, about karma, about revenge. Derek wanted to leave her with nothing. He thought she was nothing, worth nothing, had nothing. He was wrong about everything. But the real victory wasn't proving him wrong, wasn't watching his life fall apart. Wasn't even the money, though that was nice. The real victory was realizing she never needed his validation, never needed him to see her worth for her worth to be real. She was powerful before he knew. She was successful before he cared. She was everything before he noticed. His leaving didn't diminish her. It revealed her. I thought the divorce would destroy me. Instead, it revealed me. The real me was always here. I just needed to be brave enough to see her. As Carolyn fell asleep in her arms, Becca looked at the year ahead, the new position, the possibilities, the adventure of motherhood, the freedom of authenticity. Derek wanted to leave her with nothing. He left her with everything. Not the money, though that was helpful. Not the company, though that was satisfying. Not even the vindication, though that was sweet. Everything that actually mattered. Self-knowledge, strength, freedom. A daughter who would grow up watching her mother refuse to be diminished, who would learn that a woman could build empires and raise babies, could be soft and strong, could be everything all at once. The final scene was simple, perfect, real. Becca at the window, Caroline asleep in her arms, city lights spread below. The reflection in the glass was clear, strong, different than a year ago, better. She whispered to her sleeping daughter, your father thought I was nothing. Let me tell you what I am. I am your mother. I am a woman who built something from nothing. I am someone who knows her worth, and I will teach you to know yours. You will never have to choose between being powerful and being loved, between building things and raising children, between being everything you are and being acceptable to someone else. You will be free. I promise you that. The clock read 12:03 in the morning, January 1st. A new year, a new life, everything ahead. Caroline sighed in her sleep, content, safe, loved beyond measure. And Becca smiled, not because she had won, not because Derek had lost, not because justice was served, but because she was free. Finally, completely, absolutely free. Free to be herself, to build what she wanted, to love how she wanted, to live on her own terms. The divorce she thought would destroy her had actually saved her, had freed her from a life of making herself small, of hiding her light, of apologizing for her power. She looked at her daughter, at the tiny person who would grow up in a different world, a world where mommy was successful and strong and unapologetic, a world where women didn't have to choose, where they could have everything. Carolyn would never know what it felt like to hide, to diminish, to make herself small for someone else's comfort. That was the real gift, the real victory, the real happy ending. Not revenge, not vindication, not even justice. Freedom, pure, complete, absolute freedom. And that was worth more than $2 billion, more than any company, more than anything. Becca Hartwell was free, and she was just getting started. So that's Rebecca's story. From humiliation at a baby shower to becoming one of the richest self-made women in tech. From betrayal to freedom. From being told she was nothing to proving she was everything. If this story made you feel something, I'd love to know what. Drop a comment below. Tell me your thoughts. Have you ever had someone underestimate you? Have you ever discovered your own strength in the darkest moment? And if you enjoyed this story, hit that like button. It helps more people find these stories, these tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, these moments of justice that remind us the universe keeps score. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Real people, real struggles, real triumphs. The kind of stories that make you believe in yourself again. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's been underestimated. Someone who's rebuilding. Someone who needs to remember their own power. Thank you for listening to Rebecca's journey. Thank you for being here. Your time matters. Your attention matters. And remember what Rebecca learned. You don't need anyone's permission to be powerful. You don't need anyone's approval to be successful. You just need to know your own worth. Until next time, keep building your empires. Keep knowing your value. Keep refusing to be small. I'll see you in the next story.